Welcome back to the Fitness League, helping busy humans build strong bodies, sharper minds, and better lives. Join us each week as we cut through the noise, challenge the norms, and empower you to train smarter and live stronger. Been thinking a lot lately about how easy it is to let fitness become your entire identity. I get it, I've been there. I know you guys have been as well. When I first started taking my health seriously, it felt like I had to make it my whole life just to make any kind of progress. Every meal tracked, every workout planned, every supplement researched. And it did work for a while, but looking back now, that mindset nearly burned me out. And anytime I try to revert back to that, it does burn me out just about immediately. But here's the truth no one likes to talk about. Trying to be healthy can start to feel like a full-time job. Everywhere you look, there's another list of must-do habits. Drink this, avoid that, sleep 8 hours, walk 10,000 steps, lift weights, do cardio, stretch, meditate, cold plunge, sauna, track your food, prioritize protein, avoid seed oils, optimize your circadian rhythm, and on and on and on. It's overwhelming. And for most people living a real life, running a business, raising kids, working a demanding job, it is not realistic. And it doesn't need to be. That's what we're here to talk about today. Because the solution isn't to throw your hands up and quit or to double down and obsess harder. The solution is actually simpler. It's about building health into your lifestyle in a way that actually fits your life. It's about making decisions and creating routines that align with your goals, but don't take over your identity. In today's episode, we're going to share what that shift looked like for us, how we approach fitness now as parents and business owners, and why the less sexy version of health has become the most freeing and sustainable approach we have ever found. So let's get into it. Welcome back.
This one hits home for me. I feel like especially with the phase of life of orthorexic, clean eating, obsessed over exercising, exercise is life, dieting is life, abs are life phase that I was once in toward the beginning of my fitness journey, where fitness literally was my whole life and my whole day and everything else revolved around eating and lifting. I will be the first to say that there is not, for me, it wasn't just something I switched on or off. It was a gradual plunge into the dark depths of an eating disorder. And then it was a very slow, gradual pull out of it. I wish that I could sit here and be like, hey guys, just like don't obsess about your fitness. No big deal. But like the truth is, if you are in that mindset, it takes a lot of work and time to come out of that. And I'm grateful that we're on the other side of that now. I don't know, Josh, if you felt like you had a similar experience with that. And I think it's something that everyone who gets involved in fitness probably experiences in some degree, especially when they first start out. And then I think somewhere along the way, you grow through different seasons, you experience different phases of life, and things start to gradually shift, and you start to realize, oh, there are a lot of habits that I can keep ingrained in my life while also still living my life. But that was learned. That was learned through a lot of experience, good and bad. It was not something that we just woke up one day and had.
It's funny. I had two of the most extreme phases of my life that both led into this kind of identity trap that we were just kind of alluding to, and like it being everything. The first one was my dive, like you said, directly into health and fitness and like the journey. And it was exactly as you just described it. It's like, I'm going to do all the things and see the best transformation. It was the leanest I'd ever been, probably end of high school into the first couple years of college. So say junior year high school into probably junior year of college. It was just my life. It was broccoli and rice and chicken. Like I didn't season anything. It was just the bare necessities. I hated eating every single meal of the day. I hated it. But I loved how I looked and I felt okay to a point, but it transitioned into the second phase that I'm alluding to. And that was my deep dive into Barrett's esophagus and that decade, that 12-year long journey, that struggle. So in the first part, it was, I need to do all these things to look elite, to have the best physique, to be the strongest I could possibly be. And in the next phase, as I'm healing, it was, I need to do all these things. I need to be so strict. Otherwise, I feel like I'm going to die. And that's like, it might sound like an exaggeration. It's not.
Yeah.
For very much the majority of that decade, every single day, I felt like I was having a heart attack. And if it wasn't a heart attack, it was a panic attack. just difficulty breathing. I get tunnel vision, heart palpitations, chest pounding. It would wake me up multiple times throughout the night. And then that would lead into a panic attack because I felt like I was waking up having a heart attack. And God forbid I was ever alone for any of this. It would be like a full-blown meltdown. Like I actually developed, I'd never had anxiety until I got sick. And then I called this medical induced anxiety for a long time. But I was afraid of being alone, like at any point of the day. Like if anyone was gone, if I wasn't in a relationship, if like my parents weren't around, friends, my roommates weren't around, I'm like, my heart rate was up the entire time I was alone. What if something happens? What if something happens? Who's going to drive me to the ER? So it got so terrible that when I did start the path to healing, it was, I have to do all of these things that I have recognized as helpful for managing symptoms.
Yeah.
And there is nothing that's going to knock me off this path. I lost friends along the way. I couldn't go out. I had to sleep at the same exact time. I had to eat the same exact things. I had to avoid certain things. I had to do all kinds of stuff, take certain supplements. And it was like to the minute, same thing every single day, feeling like a shell of myself out of necessity. So those two phases kind of fed into each other. And I learned things along the way. Like I learned how to heal. I learned what works.
Right.
But then when I was finally able to pull myself out of this 12 years later, it's like, okay, well, I can't live my life like that.
Right. That's what I was just going to say is, you know, we both kind of had like these adjacent journeys of needing to step back from the aesthetic side of things to take a deep dive into the health side of things. For you, it was Barrett's. For me, it was like PCOS, missing menstrual cycles, infertility. And we both kind of went this more functional, holistic route for the purpose of healing, which required a lot of like really strict protocol that neither of us would now like recommend to someone for general health. Like if you don't have to do that and you're not in the position that you need to do that, don't, because it's not enjoyable. We both got to a point, I was just explaining this to someone the other day, that when someone was kind of asking me about the functional route and going the functional route and protocols and like how hard protocols could be to stick to. And while that is true, my belief after experiencing it is if you have trouble sticking to a protocol on something that is going to help heal your body, you aren't desperate enough. And I know that sounds so harsh, but I'm sure we were both in the position where we were like, I will do anything. I will do anything to make this work, to feel better, to be better, to not feel like I'm having a heart attack, to get my cycles back, to be able to make a baby. Like there comes a point of desperation of like, I'm willing to do anything. But then, like you started to allude to, coming back out of that was also challenging because then there's this fear of regression. There's this fear of, well, these protocols got me to a good place. What if I revert or I stop doing this specific protocol and now I lose my cycles again, or I start having more Barrett's symptoms again? And that was, I feel like we have had to learn and relearn what health and fitness means to each of us over and over again in different ways, in different chapters of life.
It's pretty wild. Like, again, you're nailing the head of with the hammer there. It's a situation where the conversation I've had throughout this journey, I have had family members who have Barrett's as well, followers who have come across my story. And it's the same kind of conversations. Like when you said you must not be desperate enough to like be so consistent and strict with these things. The first thing I tell people is, okay, well, alcohol's gone. Like that's a no-brainer. It's not worth it. I stopped drinking because I stopped getting drunk. I could take a couple shots and I would just get those heart attack symptoms immediately. It would feel horrible for the next 2 or 3 days. And these people who are asking questions, they're like, okay, what do I do? I'm like, well, you got to stop drinking. Well, what if I just keep it in moderation? Like, there is no what if. There is no moderation. You're literally shooting yourself in the foot every time you do it. Maybe you can bring it back after you heal, but it must not be that bad for you compared to what I was feeling, because I literally could not do it. And it was a no-brainer for this thing to have to just go. And then you do come out of that. And then I'm at the point now where that's one of the things that I've kept. Yeah, I'm done drinking. I'm never going back to drinking. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I don't do any of that stuff because I'm in a better place mentally and spiritually and emotionally. I don't need to rely on that or use it as an outlet. I love being present for every moment of it. I don't ever want to be not in control, being under the influence of something. it's just added a ton of value. But it's also, I don't ever want to get back to that point, and it's terrifying. So that's one of the things that I've chosen to stick with, as far as like, this is a strict no for me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, especially, towards the end of that Barrett's journey, where the Barrett's esophagus was healing and I had gotten to the point where I was cleared, actually, but I still felt like a shell of myself for another 2 to 4 years, something like that, where I just didn't have the energy levels. And I told my wife at the time, this is probably the end of still having it, but I told her, I'm like, I would rather have cancer than have this. At least then you know what the protocol is, how you're fighting it, and you can go all out with it. I had done all the things. I was doing all the things, and I had no energy. I was on the couch all day because little did I know at the time, I had so much internal inflammation, no good gut bacteria, a ton of overgrowth, all kinds of things that just triggered my entire body to just, I had nothing left. I wasn't a good person. Not to say I was doing bad things, but like, I couldn't give to other people. And I refused to live like that. Like, I would just rather not be here than ever go back to that. So there are certain things that I had to do to get to where I am now and to heal. But there are also certain ways of living where, like, I'm not just going to stay on the couch. Like, I can't just be this hermit crab doing certain things that prevent the symptoms from happening. Right. If I'm not living my life. I wasn't dying, but I wasn't living.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. For me, when I first got involved in health and fitness, it kind of started as like I had gained 30 pounds my freshman year, continued to kind of work out and exercise and run, but I was no longer playing like team sports anymore. Dining halls were open a lot and they were like buffet style, and I was like, this is great. Anyway, I gained about 30 pounds my freshman year, and I feel like for a lot of people that's from alcohol. For me, it was not. I was never a big drinker, and now I haven't drank in years, but I had gained about 30 pounds my freshman year. I went home for summer and noticed that just like my shorts didn't really fit, and I was like, guess I gained a little weight. Like, it had not even occurred to me. It's not like I hated my body. I was like, oh, my shorts don't really fit. Let me start like exercising a little more and trying to eat a little bit better. And that spiraled, unfortunately. It started out very innocently. It didn't come from this place of like self-loathing. I hate my body. Like, now I'm going to turn it all around. It was so gradual for me. It was like, all right, I'm going to start doing more cardio. Oh, actually, I'm going to start weightlifting a little bit too. All right, I'm going to start like, let me buy this nutrition book that basically says, don't eat carbs, don't eat sugar, don't eat salt, don't eat anything except protein. And it just, for me, health and fitness became very restrictive for me. And I think what we're talking about now versus then, whether it was Barrett's, hormone journey, gut journey for both of us, or first getting involved in fitness, I think the difference is that at first, you're trying so hard to do all the right things. And it's aesthetics driven. And when you are operating purely out of aesthetics, I think that there's a different level of, how do I put this? There's a different level of like what you're willing to do when commitment. You feel not as kind as commitment would be. There's a different level of immaturity or different lengths that you're willing to go to when you either have really, really strong feelings, kind of like we said before about the functional side, like either you're so desperate, I will do anything and I will make this my life if I need to. But I had also come from this weird background of like fitness was my whole life at one point. And like it got to a point where I was afraid to eat vegetables. Like I vividly remember, and if you've heard me talk on a podcast about my eating disorder in the past, you've heard me say this, but it's such a vivid memory for me. Eating baby carrots and then doing jumping jacks for, I don't even remember how long, in my dorm room after, because I went online to Google how many calories and carbs I had consumed by eating a handful of baby carrots and then doing jumping jacks in my dorm room to burn off the baby carrots. She was not okay. So coming out of that, what's interesting about the kind of next phase was there was this phase of orthorexic Joelle who was so extreme, and I'd have 8 a.m. classes and I'd be going to the gym at 5 a.m, and then I'd be getting out of class and then I'd be going on a run between my next classes, and then I'd go back to like crazy 2-3 workouts a day. pretty much not eating anything except protein. And the more I lost weight, the more I hated my body, which is such a mind fuck. But the more, like, that's what's so interesting is it didn't start as this like self-loathing. It was just like, oh, like I want my shorts to fit again. And it became this self-fulfilling prophecy of just turning into hating my body. My body will never be good enough. I will never look like those girls. I will never be as jacked as them. I'll never be as shredded as them, blah, 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 blah. And it got real dark there for a while. And I don't, there's so much that I could say about this. Obviously, it was a slow, gradual journey out of that. But when I then got to the point where, lo and behold, having an eating disorder is not great for your bone density, your hormones, your fertility, your menstrual cycles. So years later, when I was no longer in it anymore, but I had spent years dieting, under eating, chronically stressed, not resting enough, not prioritizing recovery, etc., not eating enough. When it came time for, okay, now I need to get my cycles back. Now I need to put myself in a reverse diet. Now I'm probably going to need to gain some intentional weight. That for me was very, like, I thought I was fully recovered from my eating disorder until I had to go through that. And that was my big, you don't get to care about aesthetics anymore. Like for a long time, I was like, oh yeah, like I'm not as aesthetic focused as I used to be. Like we're good. And from like a no longer fearing food standpoint, things like that, I was good. But the health journey of gut and hormone stuff that I then had to embark on, where had gained a ton of weight. I was so inflamed. My face was all puffy. My whole body hurt. Like if someone just like put to me, my body hurt. I remember that awful level of inflammation. And that required a totally different piece of me, because on one hand, it was this full on necessary health protocols where everything I ate, everything I touched, like the way that I ate, how many bites, like how much chewing I was doing in between bites, like everything was so regimented. And that also really scared me, because I was like, I have done health is life before and it didn't end well for me. So then there's this like weird PTSD of like, okay, but this is different. Like this isn't for aesthetics. This is like so you could get your cycles back. And so this is so you could get your period again. And
isn't it funny though how you rationalize with yourself regardless of what the situation is?
I just remember, and that by far, that was the hardest part. Like the eating disorder had nothing on how hard that gut hormone getting cycles back journey was, because part of it really was swallowing. I mean, there's a lot of just really tough parts of it, but part of that was, can I go all in on my health again without it being a detriment to my health? Because when I was in the eating disorder, I thought I was just dedicated. And now I am dedicated. Now I am dedicated to my health, and I want to get my cycles back, and I want to be able to have babies and start a family and blah, blah, blah. But like, is this the right thing? Am I supposed to be doing it this way? Am I being too extreme? Am I being too restrictive? You know, and Brant and I had so many conversations along the way of like, hey, like, just checking in here. I see how you're eating. I see how you're this. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm doing this protocol and it's with Taylor and it's this and this. And thank God everything worked out great. And I eventually got my cycles back, got my gut in a much better place, got pregnant and had beautiful babies and all that. But that, like, yeah, there were just two very different extremes of what going all in on my health looked like. And then after each of those phases, having to relearn what living a healthy life looked like.
Hey guys, real quick. If you've been listening and thinking, I need to start doing something for my health, but I don't have time for a full program, that is literally why we built the SDE Method app. It's a fitness app made for real people with real lives. Busy parents, working professionals, anyone juggling 100 things. You can get a smart, effective workout in around 30 minutes, some even closer to 20 minutes, and log out knowing you made progress. You can finally take the guessing out of your workouts. We have workouts designed to be done at the gym or at home, and you get access to all of them when you sign up. As life phases change, you can pick a new one that aligns better with what you have going on right now. And one more thing, we are also qualified for HSA FSA reimbursement. So just hit the app link in the show notes, start where you are, we'll help with the rest. All right, let's get back to the show. It's interesting. And again, you're perfectly transitioning into each of these points. I think for someone to have a successful health and fitness journey, there does have to be that turning point where you understand and you realize fitness isn't supposed to be your entire life. This process isn't supposed to be your entire life. It's supposed to support your life. And it's supposed to make everything else better. And it's supposed to be this tool as opposed to this job. It's not everything. It's pieces of the thing that make everything else more enjoyable, and make everything else more supported, and to allow you to give more to everybody else. And I think until people have that realization, and you're going to have to go through this in your own way. We have our stories, all of our listeners have theirs. Until you have that aha moment for yourself, like right now, this is my life. Or every time I try to implement it, it becomes my life. I need it to support my life. And I need the protocols and I need the habits to be created with that in mind, versus here's my transformation. Everything is about this specific, this current, this in the moment thing. That can be part of your thing. You want to make your body better. You want to be healthier for your kids, your family. But it's in the zoomed out view of supporting everything else that you finally create things in the right way.
I think that that's something I'm going to kind of toot our own horn here for a minute in terms of our Levolution clients and our Levolution coaches. I feel like that's something we hear so often from clients when they're like, I just didn't know that I could like still go out with my friends and lose the weight that I've lost. Or like, I didn't realize that I could still fit ice cream nights in with my family and still see the progress that I want to see. And I think we adore hearing that so much because we've been on both sides of the spectrum and are able to say like, yes, let us help you live your life in a healthy way. But while these habits and behaviors are supporting your ability to show up for your family, to go out with your family, to build the muscle you want to build, to be strong, to, haul your kid's scooter and whatever else, down the street. So yeah, I think that it all really, what we're talking about comes down to quote balance. And everyone, like as cliche as like, oh, you got to find your balance. Like, I know that is so cliche and it's so annoying because Josh and I can't sit here and tell you like, just be balanced, guys, because what's balanced for me might not be balanced for you. You might look at something that Josh or me or Alessandra do and think like, that's so extreme. And there have been plenty of experiences where we did do extreme things. And now something that we may or may not do may seem extreme to someone else. And to us, that might be a healthy behavior or a normal quote behavior for us, and vice versa. I think it's extreme if you get shit-faced every Saturday and Sunday, but like you think it's extreme if we go to the gym every Saturday and Sunday, So I think it's yes, we want to preach balance. I think the special part about coaching is we get to show you what that looks like relative to your own specific life.
Absolutely. The way I kind of view it now is like, imagine this linear progress bar, this symbol line. So 0% on this side, 100% on the other side. This flow of ebb and flow of balance and extreme. Think the 20% to 80% is this large sweet spot, right? So if you're below that on one side, it's extreme. Above that on the other side, that's extreme. But we can be quote unquote more extreme than others on either end of that spectrum. And still be balanced, because again, that's balanced for us. So yes, maybe we're going to the gym on Saturday, Sunday, so we're over at the 80% over here. And maybe some people are, whatever that rest routine looks like, way over here, but it allows them to be consistent with it. As long as we're in that 80% gray area, there are a lot of good things we can do, and there's a lot of progress that we can see. But it just comes back to creating these tools, and they're all individual. So again, going back to coaching, like the point of coaching is to kind of create this shortcut, not in the sense that you're going to lose 50 pounds in 30 days, but we shortcut the trial and error aspect.
It's a GPS.
Exactly.
It's a GPS. And
our
you
team
need
has
to
done
get
this
from
thousands of times before.
I like to say that coaching is like a GPS. You are going to get from point A to point B eventually, right? If you are driving and you're taking a cross-country trip, you'll probably get there eventually. It's going to you're going to have a lot of wrong turns and a lot of reroutes. And, you might have to change your course of action quite a few times. But if you had a GPS, probably get there a little bit quicker because you're going to have less wrong turns. You're going to have a more clear route. That's what the coach is doing for you. It's not going to shortcut your results in the sense that 30 pounds, lose 30 pounds in 30 days, but it's going to shortcut how long it would take you if you were taking all those unfortunate detours on your own.
For sure. Although you're going to do the trial and error and you're going to learn from that if you're taking notes and you're paying attention. So a realistic avenue, maybe this takes you 10 years doing this on your own. It's like, oh, I tried and I failed and I tried and I did this yo-yo diet and that yo-yo extreme on the training programming. It might take you 10 years and you'll finally get it and you'll maintain it for life after that point, versus a coaching might be able to get you there in 12 to 24 months. Not just learning, because again, we're going to implement certain things that we know has worked for the vast majority of people in your exact situation. So we have a no one size fits all cookie cutter program, but blueprints. And based on what you tell us, we implement certain protocols and we adapt those. We fine tune them as we go throughout, but it's going to cut a significant amount of that trial and error out of your process. But again, it's about sharpening the right tools and giving you the right tools. So again, it's not this full-time job, but let's say, okay, you've got the busy mornings. Maybe you can get up 20 minutes earlier and we'll do a body weight routine before the kids get up. We're not going to do a full meal prep where you're batch cooking for the entire week, but here are some great, simple grab and go options that you're going to love. The kids are going to love. Here's how we create those things. And then at night, maybe the kids are getting down a little bit late. They're a little bit older and, they're not going to bed at 7:30 anymore. Maybe it's 8:30, 9 o'clock, but you still need that wind down time. Okay, what are some things that you can do on your own or with the spouse that are going to be conducive to ideal sleep and maximizing your circadian rhythm and optimizing your sleep cycles? But it's not like I'm in this health thing. It's like, okay, maybe you're reading a book together and you guys are talking about it. Maybe it's sipping some bedtime tea and having a conversation, but creating things like that. That's not like, oh my gosh, I've got to finish out my health routine, my fitness routine, whatever it is. It's I'm going to do this thing because this makes me feel good and I enjoy doing this and it allows me to connect and have deeper relationships. That's the different lens.
I think that's also why, and I think we did a good job of this when we talked about the extra modalities of like red light, sauna, blah, 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 when we did that episode last week. That's why Josh and I have to continue making these clarifications of like, there is a lot of stuff that you could potentially be doing. None of it should be the focus until you have nailed moving your body, resting your body, fueling your body, taking care of your body. The extra modalities, they may be great. Nothing is going to be more impactful than getting some fiber, eating some color, eating some protein, a good sleep routine, and moving your body, whatever moving your body looks like for you in a way that is enjoyable and stick-to-able. So I think back to the beginning of what you were talking about, Josh, like you had rattled off a list, right? Of like cold plunge, sauna, this, that.
There was so much I was running out of breath.
Yeah. And it is easy to feel that way. And then you're like, where do I start? Well, you start with what we call the basics, which is really what we are saying. I don't like to call it the basics because it doesn't feel basic, but to me, more so the fundamentals, which L5. Movement, mindset. I did that backwards already. Training. Josh has an order. Hold on. Training, nutrition, mindset, movement, and habits.
I couldn't even say it out of order. That's why there's an order. I can't go out of order.
I started to, and then it felt weird in my mouth, and I had to restart.
I know. Yep. I'm telling you.
So those are your foundations to start with. And I think another thing that a lot of times happens is there is this preconceived notion that you have to be all in on all the things if you want to see progress. And then I think people hear like how many days a week do you lift, Josh, these days? Okay. I lift 4 days a week and have been in a season of 4 lifts per week for probably a few years now, certainly since kids. Could I go past that? Yeah, I probably could do 5. I think my body feels good with 4, and I already teeter not as great recovery as I would like. And if I were to do a 5th day, I think it would probably do more harm than good on my current recoverability, my current recovery capacity. And sometimes people hear that like, oh, you train, you're not on the Peloton every day. You're doing 2 rides a week. Oh, you're lifting 4 days a week. And I'm like, yeah, these are things that are weaved into my life, but they're designed to, yes, take care of my health, but to do more good than harm. And if do I have the mental toughness to train every single day, 7 days a week? Yeah, damn right I do. But I also know that would not serve me. So there's this aspect, that we often will warn clients about of like doing too much too soon, right? The person who comes in and they're like, put me in, coach. I'm motivated. I want 2 workouts a day, 7 days a week, no rest days. Like I'm all in. And we're like, great. So we're not doing that because that's a fast track to complete burnout and you hating workout and hating workouts and hating the gym and not wanting to go at all. So like, hey, let's start small and gradually work our way up as we build some confidence and self-esteem and competency. And if we could start with 2 days and get to 3, great. If we could start to 3 and get to 4 and we stop at 4, great. Or maybe we'll work our way up to 5. But I think that one of the biggest mistakes that people make is trying to do all the things all the time, all at once, with no grace. And then they stick to that for a few days and then they're like, I just couldn't do it. I can't do the whole fitness thing. It's just not sustainable for me. And I was like, well, you tried to run a marathon on day 1. So that's not going to work for you.
Problem there is they're falling into this fitspiration trap. So they see their Greek god-like fitfluencer preaching all the things and not processing that social media is the extreme. That everything they're seeing there has been heightened to a false reality where this person, if they are at a certain level, like they literally do that for their job. It's sexier. It's more entertaining to watch. And it's also, you must do all these things to see X, Y, and Z. If you do those things, you probably will, but you're not going to do all those things because it's the extreme and you have a job and you have a life. So one of my favorite people to follow is Brian Johnson. He's the don't die guy, the king of longevity, wants to live till he's 200 years old. It's just entertaining
so disappointed that you just said that is one of your favorite people to follow.
Because it is so entertaining to watch. He's this is all that he does, and he's going to give you the data and the markers, and he's like a dorky dude. He founded PayPal, I believe, or Braintree that was bought out by PayPal.
I actually looked it up fairly recently because Brant and I were talking about him. I think he sold.
So to
PayPal
be clear, we're not talking
Venmo.
about Liver King, not that Brian Johnson.
Different Brian Johnson. The other Brian Johnson that he has got the Netflix documentary, like Don't Die.
They both do. Yeah. They both have Netflix documentaries.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's not a differentiator. Well, they're both crazy actually. Never mind. I was like, one has completely lost his mind. The other one I also think has lost his mind, but
he's a fun-loving dorky dude, but he's the human lab rat.
That man doesn't have any fun. Come on.
No, that's what I mean. He doesn't have any fun.
He leave his house.
That's the point I'm making.
He doesn't want to be in a relationship because of something like it'll disturb his sleep or something.
No, he can't stay in a relationship because they don't like his schedule. He stops eating at like 11. He goes to bed at like 8:30. But no, I'm not saying because I want to follow. I'm just saying understanding the social media paradigm, it is enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
But I can create the differentiating factor of like, okay, I'm not going to live like that.
That's not for me.
Exactly. That's not for anybody. This guy literally doesn't have to make another dollar in his life. He puts millions of dollars into these studies on himself every single year. That's not the reality that any of us are going to be living. But I like watching the show. For those who don't understand that it is a show, you're like, oh, well, I have to do all these things. And this routine is going to take 23 of the 24 hours a day. I got to quit my job. I got to, give my kids to my parents. I got to do all these crazy things so I can manage health and fitness. That's not what it is. And we have to kind of shift that and understand these guys do that for a living. They are paid fitfluencers. They are paid fitness coaches. They are paid fitness entertainers. And that is all that they need to do. And we have to kind of peel back the layers, scale back the curtain to realize maybe there are certain things you can take from these ridiculous. Maybe there's one thing from this guy's 30 protocol thing that you could take. Like, I can apply that to my life.
I can do that.
But we have to break it down and understand that. It's not it's like trying to go live like James Bond because you watch a James Bond movie. Like, that's not your life. You can watch it and it's fun, but you're not going to go do all those things. You're not going to go jump off a 5,000-foot cliff and like land perfectly in a tree. It's not going to happen. To the same extent, you aren't going to spend half of your day doing what these guys have professional chefs doing, and then doing your 2-day workouts, and then meditating and stretching for a combination of 4 hours. You're not David Goggins. That's not going to happen. You got to live your life. You got to raise your kids. You got to do the things. So that is when we talk about that linear percentage little line we were talking about there, Brian Johnson is at the 100%. Like, we're not going to live there. We got to scale it back at least to the 80. You got that 20 to 80% range. But we have to start there and understand who is giving advice that we can follow on a lifestyle basis and who is there to build this 2 million audience entertainment system. This entertainment studio is what it is. And not to say there's anything wrong with that, but we have to understand that that's what it is. It's like watching a movie. It's there for you to put eyeballs on it, see what they're doing, not to replicate. As far as that reality check, we can kind of keep scaling that in. Right now, I think you started alluding to it with your 4 training days a week. Kind of take the people through your general flow of a day. Like, what does that look like for you? And then kind of scale back to like a zoomed out, what does that entire week breakdown kind of look like? Training, nutrition, mindset, movement, habits, hit on what you want.
Okay, here we go. Usually try to or aim to train at 5:30 in the morning. So I will get up at 5, get dressed, brush my teeth, throw down 2 applesauce packets for some quick carbs, not eating a full meal. Carbs are protein sparing, just great to get down some easy carbs and electrolytes. And I hit the gym. I'm there for 45, 50 minutes. Yeah, an hour tops. Come back home, slam protein shake and creatine just to kind of hold me over while I get the kiddos up and ready. After that, after kind of getting kids up and ready, childcare hours will begin for us. I'll bring Sloan to school. Our nanny comes so I could get some work done. That's when I will sit and have a full meal of protein, carbs, color is kind of my recipe there. Dive into work, lunch, hopefully somewhere in there. That's a constant weak point for me because I just end up so in the weeds of whatever I'm doing that is my struggle meal for sure. But when I am on top of it, again, protein, carbs, color, or protein, plants, color, however you want to put. Nope, hold on. Color and plants are the same in my book, so hold on. Carbs, protein, color is what I meant to say. Ideally, a walk somewhere in there. If I can fit in a solo walk at some point during a work break, I do try to implement that, or take the doggy with me. But a childless midday walk hits real nice sometimes in the middle of a work day.
Mental rejuvenation.
Then childcare for us ends around 3:30-ish. So, then I'm kind of shut the laptop back on duty with the girlies and we're doing something together, usually something active together. So whether that is going to the park or swimming in the pool or climbing on the jungle gym in the basement, we're usually trying to do something for a few hours that is fun and also just active and movement for all of us because we all feel good doing that. Dinner, baths, bedtime. And that's kind of the Monday through Friday MO. I'm pretty much solo from 7 to 7 with the girls, minus childcare, obviously, but Brant is pretty much out of the house those 12 hours at work. So there's a lot of just kind of solo parenting, feeding, entertaining the kids. And I find that just getting out of the house helps to keep all of us sane. Put them outside or put them in water is my favorite saying, is where they are the happiest and also is where I am the happiest, where we are all the happiest, in water or outside or both. So yeah, that's kind of what Monday through Friday looks like for us. Weekends are a little bit different, obviously, because Brant is home. We have a lot more actual family time. But yeah, that's mostly what things will look like on a day-to-day. 4 of those weekdays are a lift days. So I'll usually do Monday, Tuesday lifting, Wednesday lift Peloton, Thursday, Friday lifting, Saturday full rest minus family activities, and then Sunday Peloton. So I usually have 4 lifts in there, 2 Peloton rides in there, some family walks, some pool time, some swimming. Yeah, I'd say that's the training, nutrition, movement side of things. Mindset we're working on. I actually temporarily lost my journal. I could not find it anywhere. And I was like, did one of the girls take it? And then I cleaned up my office that was an absolute mess. And I was like, I found my journal. It was just under a pile of mess. So I actually would like to re-establish my morning journaling, even just a quick like 5-minute gratitude journal, because I just do find that when I start my day with that, even at 5 in the morning, you just like you just notice things. I notice that I notice things differently on the days that I do that. On the days that I start my day with writing and writing down what I'm grateful for, I notice that I find more things to be grateful for throughout the day. And it just completely, shifts that for me. So I would
It's
like
your
to
reticular activation system.
I forgot what that theory is called. I think it's actually literally called like the red car theory. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where like if you were to go look at a red car at a place and you'd be like,
No,
yeah, I love
if
this
you go
car.
buy a red car.
Yeah, or like you're shopping for a red car or whatever, and then like you go drive down the highway and you're, oh my god, there's a red car and there's a red car and there's a red car. You like start to see what you've been paying attention to, and I find that exact same thing happens to me when I start and stay on top of doing my gratitude journal. I'm like, you go walk on the beach and you're like, oh my god, like I'm so grateful it's sunny out today. I'm so grateful I get to take this walk today. Like you start to have that same effect where you're like, look at all of these little things that I was just taking for granted and not even really taking notice of. And now I'm finding all of these little things throughout my day that are making me just feel like warm and fuzzy. So, working on getting back to that.
It's huge.
Yes.
And none of that is perfect. We're juggling kids. We got the businesses.
Yep.
We,
Nope. There are days that I don't go for a walk at all. There are days that I miss a lift because I couldn't get myself out of bed, or because I said I'm gonna save it for later, and then something with work or kids happened and I missed the lift. Like Josh said, it's never perfect. That's the, hey, this is how I want things to go and this is how I hope things will go, and when they go as planned, this is how they go. But that does not mean that we never have to pivot.
Yep. Mine got to the point where I was so frustrated. Like, I used to love getting up really early. I had a post about this today. Like, when I was still working for someone else, I was up at 3:45 at the gym by like 4:30. And I just loved being up and getting things done before the sun. I loved having the world to myself. The traffic lights were beautiful. Like, everything was just different when you were the first one to wake and to get shit done. I have had such a hard time since kids getting back into that and like looking forward to that. And it wasn't until like, I think it's been a week and a half at this point where I'm like, I was so frustrated with how little I was getting done because I was basically peeling myself out of bed right before the kids got up. So it was like chaos from the get, and I couldn't take it anymore. I'm like, trying to shift my wake up time a little bit wasn't doing it. I'm like, I got to go balls to the walls. So I changed it to 4:30. I'm like, I am up at 4:30. Roll out of bed, do my 10 push-ups. That changed to 15 because Coach Tom called me a bitch. And that is literally just to wake myself up. And then I'm, brush my teeth, wash my face. I'm out. I start working. Then I eat breakfast by 5:30, go back to work, and then lift between 6 and 6:15. That's when I start. Then we grab the kids, take our morning walk, make breakfast, get them up and at them. It's a little different now because it's summer, but then it's typically preschool routine. And then the biggest shift with Wes, our latest baby, is Alessandra has really taken over that basically on the full time, where I dive into work on the full time because we're at a point in both where we couldn't we couldn't we couldn't bounce back and forth and get a little bit done on both sides. Like, I have to be all in on the business. That said, like, today was a little bit different. Our two older ones were gone with their grandparents, our 6-year-old and our 2-year-old. They went to a dino park, and I knew she was having a hard time with Wes this morning, so I just scooped him up, hung out with him for a couple hours while she got a lift in and got to chill for a little bit. So again, the monkey wrenches still get thrown into it. But from there, I work basically until dinner time, come up, make dinner, and that's the day, rinse and repeat.
It's the day. It's not very glam.
6 or 7 days a week, pretty much, yeah. But I'm lifting right now 5. I mentioned 5. I was doing 4 for a long time, but my other shift was I want to get back to like looking like I do this pretty damn hardcore. So I added the 5th day back in there. I was still seeing great results at 4 days. I was feeling pretty good with 4 days, but there's just a certain amount of volume and frequency that are going to optimize what I'm going for right now. So that's definitely helped. I'm on the up and up there. Cardio, I am not perfect with, but my goal is 2 steady state days, 20, 30 minutes, and then an additional hit day at 20 minutes with that. Meditation is a non-negotiable. We talk a lot about the rule of 2. So making habits so unbelievably easy that it would be silly to skip them. So some of my non-negotiables are 2 pages before bed. I read. It's typically 10 pages a chapter, but 2 pages is that I'm so tired, I'm going to do 2 pages and that's it. That's fine. 2 minutes of meditation, it's typically 10, but I'm going to do 2 minutes no matter what. Those are like two of the simple things that help me kind of maintain my mindset, my emotional health, my spiritual health, and give me a good night's rest. Like, it's a big part of that too. When I unwind, that's part of the routine. I do my gratitude journal in the morning. I think I skipped over that. That's another one. It's literally like 3 minutes. Today I feel, insert emotions, intentions for the day. So I will be present, I will be productive, I will be compassionate, things along those lines. And then 3 things I'm grateful for. Again, activating that RIS, reticular activation system, looking for those things that we're so grateful for and appreciative of, regardless of the difficult season that we're in. Movement, post-breakfast family walk, post-dinner family walk. That's
Ideally.
Unless it's like a downpour thunderstorm, like we're out there, light rain, snow, 20 degrees, wind chill, whatever it is, like we're moving. But yeah, it's not a big thing in regards to nutrition where we meal prep a whole lot. Typically we'll have one protein prepped, and that's like an in-between meal. Breakfast is eggs. I just run out to the coop, grab some eggs, have breakfast with that. A shake in between there somewhere. Dinner is also made on the spot as well. I don't like reheating a lot of that stuff, like a steak or anything like that. So those are typically made that night, but we will prep like chicken meatballs and have like yogurt ready to roll, protein shakes, obviously. So we keep it simple. We make sure it's really adaptive and just like efficient, because we're doing so much all the time that if it's a big to do, it's going to get skipped on those crazy days. So that's kind of the hack, is again, lowering that barrier to entry, setting ourselves up for success. But I'm also not prepping for 6 hours a week to get through. So keeping it simple in that regard. It's just, when you got kids, we've got the businesses, you need to be ready for those curveballs and just have realistic plans. Either your plan B, here's what I do when I can't do plan A, or scaling back plan A altogether if you are in a crazy season of life. Again, today was kind of a crazy day. I literally have spit up all over my shirt, and we are on the podcast. So it's we adapt and we thrive regardless of what that looks like. We've got the non-negotiables; those get checked off. We stop kind of answering to that voice in our heads. And that's what really helped me with the getting up in the morning. It wasn't the conversation of, did I get enough sleep? How do I feel? Am I actually going to train? Is it going to be a beneficial workout? You stop having those conversations, and this is just what we're doing today, regardless of what happened before. And you could say, oh, well, if I got 4 hours of sleep, I really shouldn't be working out. Probably. But if you're having those conversations, you're going to negotiate at 6.5 hours of sleep. You're going to negotiate at a 7-hour mark, but you're still tired, so you want to go back to bed. So it has to become that non-negotiable, and you just have to set yourself up for success as often as possible with that nighttime routine, with how you're winding down, with how you set yourself up throughout the day and handle the kids, the wife, the relationship. This is just universal advice. Like, you need to prepare in the same way for all of these things. It's the same mindset. The positions where you give yourself wiggle room, you will make the easiest choice more often than not. It's just the way that we're wired as humans. Listen, if you're tired of the all or nothing cycles, the diet starts Monday, the I know what to do, I'm just not doing it feeling, we should probably talk. Our one-on-one online coaching isn't just about workouts and meal plans. It's about building something that actually fits your life. No cookie cutter templates, no guilt, just real coaching and real results. Plus, we've got a pretty big team, so we can even pair you with an expert who actually understands your lifestyle because they've gone through it too. If that sounds like what you've been missing, check out the link in the show notes to apply for coaching. Then we'll send you the link to book a free, no-obligation consult call with our team. There are no hard closes. We won't even take your credit card over the phone. You'll get the details to sign up on your own time. And more good news, we are in fact qualified for HSA FSA reimbursement. One last thing, we even offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. What are you waiting for? Spots are limited, so apply today. All right, let's get back to the show.
And you also have to know where your strong and your weak points are. Like for me, I know that a morning workout, when I make a morning workout a non-negotiable, I am so much better for it. And it is the only guaranteed way I won't bail. 100%. Because as much as I love training and I'm someone who loves and enjoys exercise, if I don't get in that morning workout, and even like there are days if I don't have early morning like calls or meetings that I'll go at 8:30 a.m. instead of 5:30 a.m. If I miss that window, there's no shot I'm working out later in the day. I know that that's a weak point for me. Should I have the raw will to be able to say, it doesn't matter what time it is, I'll work out at 7 p.m. if I need to? No, I won't. No, I won't. I know that if I don't do it in the morning, I am not doing it. Even on a Saturday, like Saturdays, or rather Sundays are my Peloton day. And I always ride in the morning. And there was a day a few weeks ago that Brant was like, hey, can you skip the morning ride and we'll go out to breakfast? Like, do your ride later. And I was like, I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. And we went out to breakfast because I didn't want to be like, I don't want to not do the ride. And like now our whole family can't go out to breakfast or whatever. Like I'll skip the ride. I'll make myself do it later. And I did make myself do it later, but only because Brant was there being like, go do your ride. This is your day that you do a ride. Go do it. I'll do this. You do that. Ba, 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 ba. Or it might have even been that we both went down into the basement to do cardio while the girls were napping. But I know me. I know a weak point for me is if I don't do it in the morning, I likely am not going to do it at all, because once I start getting caught up in work and people need me or my kids need me or something else happens, I know I'm not doing it. And I'm not doing it in the 1 hour that I have at night at home with my husband when he gets home from work. I'm not doing it during bedtime routines. Like, my morning is my guarantee. In a way, that's a weak spot for me. It's a strong spot, but it's also a weak spot on the other end of like, if I don't do it, then I won't. You have to know for you what those strong and weak points are so that you can create your non-negotiables to be things that actually make sense and work for what you're when and where you're really good at showing up and where you know you struggle to show up.
So guys, if you're listening to this and thinking you're behind, you're not. You're living life, and fitness should fit into that life, not take it over. This is something that most of our clients before coming to us deal with, and I know a lot of you are dealing with the same thing. So it's starting with a shift in that mindset, and then it's recalibrating the protocols and the habits that you think you need to be doing to actually align and fit into the puzzle pieces and the shapes that you actually have. We're not going to fit, a square peg into a circular hole. You got to figure out what you can do. And, another thing I brought up, I don't know if it was a podcast or a post, but this idea that if you can't envision yourself doing something in a month, it's not even worth starting. If this isn't a lifelong thing, in most cases, some things will ebb and flow a little bit, but a lot of times, if you're not doing this for life, it's not worth starting, because the moment that you stop performing something, you stop receiving the benefit from it. You stop practicing, hitting a golf ball, you're immediately getting worse. You stop doing a certain thing, whatever that benefit was, slowly over time is depreciating. So it's, that's why I said there's no such thing as a quick fix, because as soon as you stop, well, that fix is gone. Now, something that my two partners here, one on the show and one who is currently upstairs, promised to the audience on their last episode that I was not on.
Did we hit our 20 shares?
I didn't count them. We got a lot.
We gotta check with Alessandra on that. I don't know if we hit all 20. We did get a lot.
We're gonna give it to them anyway.
10. Okay.
They were quite a bit.
Wow, you're being generous.
I'm being generous.
You guys are about to get the project. You guys the majority of you listening to this did not share, and you're still gonna get a project?
Because we got a little rank update. So this one, it wasn't even a huge share. There was maybe, I would say probably 12 to 15 we ended up getting. It was something, if I had to do a rough estimate. But because of that simple little ask, we find we've been kind of slowly going down in the rankings a bit. We shot up a lot. We cracked the top 50 again. We're climbing significantly in Spotify. Spotify is more of the big leagues, I feel like, than Apple. People are, I don't know if it's because you can watch it on there now.
Yeah.
But we're climbing. We're getting a ton of downloads on Spotify. Shot up on Apple again.
Share, guys.
When you guys share, and that is our simple ask. So before you even get the Project B tidbit, that is our simple ask. If you got anything from any of these episodes, this one, previous, those in the future, share it. If you have not yet left us a 5-star review, please just click the button. It takes a minute. The share takes a minute. That's all. We show up once, usually twice a week, with free content, with free advice.
Twice a week.
Almost always. We missed one. We were away a couple weeks ago. We still got the one.
Yeah.
But this is the resource we send over to people who aren't working with us or who are and want some additional stuff to kind of relate with us, get the inspiration or whatever it is. This is something we love doing, but a reminder that you are the fitness league. You are why we're doing this. And it's, this isn't a monetized podcast. There's no ads other than us telling you what we do. There's those 2 spots throughout the episode that I plug in there. So your job, your role in the community is to share something when you find value in it so that another person who has not currently found the show can also get value and they can benefit and they can improve their lives. So that's all. That's the only thing we ask, guys. If you're listening, go beyond that 3 episodes, that the 3-episode rule. Just share it.
Sharing is caring.
And you guys have been great as well, I will say. Those of you who have done the 5-star on Spotify, that is, again, climbing and climbing. So we appreciate you guys. All that said, Project B update. In the last show that you guys did, the Q&A episode, I did put into the show notes after editing it a little wait list. So it'll take you to a landing page, giving you a little bit of a preview, and then you can input your contact info to be the first to know every time that we get updates. So those are not, they're not a workflow. What's that?
Is that their hint?
No, that's not their hint. That's not their hint. That's not their hint. This is not
the
a
moment
workflow.
You've all been waiting for. Join our wait list.
Goodbye. No, I'll be nice. That's not a workflow. It's not automated. I will be sending out emails manually to that list of very specific updates and timelines and getting first access to Project B. As far as the update on what it is, what's happening right now, the first round of beta users, a very, very, very small number of people outside of our team have been onboarded into the first phase of this, the first version. It's not even the same version you guys are going to get when it does go live initially. There are some additional very, very cool tools being built as we speak, but they are helping us fine tune the UI in certain aspects to make sure it's perfect. And what do you look like you're about to burst. What are you holding in over there?
Just trying to figure out where this is going. And I can also see you being really careful about your words so you don't say something that you don't want to say.
The opposite of what you two do.
I could see you being like just very deliberate as you're speaking, and I'm just watching the wheels turning internally for you and also trying to figure out how much you're going to say. So I'm just kind of giggling to myself over
I'm skating a very fine line. I'm living in this project right now. So like it's very easy to me to just raffle off like 10 different things that are being done. Exactly.
Yeah.
So to give you the concept, we've alluded to it. I'll break this down a bit further for you because it goes right along with this episode. It goes hand in hand with this episode. The goal is to give you all of the tools you could possibly need to build the perfect protocol for yourself. And I will go as far as to say something that's almost become a bit of a tagline in some of our posts and some of our episodes regarding running the study on yourself. This, I'm not even going to say, Project B will give you the ability to do that. It will give you the insights. It's not going to require any kind of expensive tech. It's not going to, we're going to give you the insights. You just have to be honest in your reporting and how you do certain things.
Honest with yourself.
Honest with yourself. It doesn't help anybody if you're lying to yourself. We're going to make it fun. We're going to make it easy to use. We are going to keep it clean and simple and not overwhelming. But the goal, and this is like anti-marketing. This is the first thing they tell you not to do in marketing. But our goal is to help everybody. When we say we want to make the world a happy, healthy place, that is legitimately our goal. So who you marketing to? Who's your ideal avatar? It's you. It's everybody. It's the entire world, regardless of what you are doing and why you are doing it. And we'll see how that marketing campaign goes out. It's going to be as part of the special community. You guys are going to play a role in that, and there's going to be some cool things that are related to you being a part of growing the platform. But again, it's going to be something you look forward to using, you look forward to doing. I feel like there was another aspect as far as actual usage I was going to allude to, but I don't think I can go much deeper than that. What do you think? Is there something on the tip of your tongue there?
Well, I don't know. I'm so afraid to talk. I think the people who are part of our community are going to be very excited. And I think that community will grow more with what people will have access to. And our hope is that you want to share it with your own communities.
Families, friends,
And
coworkers.
something that, yep.
Yes. Yes.
Stop there. Yep.
Okay. Yep.
Yep. Great.
So I guess one more part I was going to kind of allude to as well. I was talking about this on our last meeting as well with the team. This is a living, breathing thing. It's going to constantly evolve. So I mentioned phase 1. This is like pre-phase 1 being betaed right now with our first handful of users. We already have a roadmap probably for the next 12 to 18 months for additional features that are going to be built on top of this. But there is a very distinct product we're going to be able to roll out here in the relatively soon future. That is a big upgrade over anything that we have or we have seen out there in regards to quote unquote related platforms that are not really related because we're doing it different. But we have that roadmap. We're going to be taking feedback, requests, all of those things. Again, you are the Fitness League. Our job in this department here is to kind of listen to everything you're telling us on this podcast and through coaching and through our current app and just in our general communities and listen to what you need, to the struggles that you have, and how do we solve those problems? And how do we do so in a way that's also going to benefit John, Sue, and Larry, like all these other people? How do we create something that helps everyone, but also the individual? And I think we fucking nailed it. I think what we have out right now
We're on the right track.
is on the right track. And I hope you guys love it as much as we have loved building it. That's it. That's all you get today.
That's all you get. We got to shut up right now
There will be more.
before we say
Go
something we regret.
in the show notes right after you leave that quick 5-star review. Add yourself to that wait list. We've talked about it one time and it's popping. People are in there. So the upcoming updates, we'll sprinkle them in throughout these episodes and posts and whatnot. But the nitty gritty, the meat, it's going to be in the emails and the text that we send out to that specific group. So jump in there after this episode. And the last thing I'll leave you with, guys, is to remember change doesn't come in one big moment. It's built in the ways you keep showing up. So take what you learned today and build the best version of yourself for tomorrow. Where can they find you?
At Joelle Samantha.
I'm at Josh Skutnik. Everything else is linked in the show notes, including your project viewing.